I had also had a negative relationship with games because I gotten addicted to them like millions of other people around the world. And, you know, like hid it from my parents. And it was really just kind of a problem. And I just kind of thought that was it, that was all the video games could ever do for you, is just to be a mindless entertainment, or even worse, a source of addiction, which never does you any good.
No.
And it was just, yeah, that was my relationship with games. It was just my favorite hobby, the most damaging. And then I played Outer Wilds, and it taught me that you can have such deep, meaningful experiences through a game.
Welcome to the House of Word and Spirit podcast. I am Ruth, and I'm joined today by my new friend, Zaden.
Hello.
Hey, Zaden, how's it going?
Hello. I'm pretty good. I'm doing good. There's a dog next to me. Couldn't be
Yeah,
happier.
we actually changed the angle, if you're watching this on the video side of things, to include Everest. So welcome, Everest. Zaden, tell me a bit about yourself. Where are you from? How did you end up here on my couch?
I am Zaden Yangus, as you well know. I'm from Ellensburg, Washington, and I am here on a big DTS, which is a discipleship training school.
Yep.
Where we learn about God, and then we get to travel around the world and tell people about God.
Oh, fun. So can we talk about God today?
We can. I would
Excellent.
love to.
Excellent. We are going to talk about God, but actually what I've asked Zaden to come and speak about is a subject that we've not actually ever touched on in House of Word and Spirit. Do you know that? So
Really?
you get to pave the way with us here.
The first one.
We are going to talk about gaming, but specifically how gaming doesn't always have to be something that is unhealthy or is some mindless hobby. Actually, how gaming can be a very healthy and wholesome and impactful thing, right?
Yes.
So I'm just going to pick Zaden's brain about this because I actually really like games. You know that?
Ooh.
I don't game as much as I would like to.
What's your favorite game? That's the one thing I'll ask you.
That's ever existed.
Yeah, that you've ever played.
Banjo-Kazooie. Do you know
You are
Banjo-Kazooie?
kidding me.
Do you know it?
I love Banjo-Kazooie.
I love Banjo-Kazooie and Banjo-Tooie.
The dialogue is so funny.
It's so
Wait,
good.
and Banjo-Tooie.
And Banjo-Tooie.
I love both. You're
Yeah.
kidding me.
Yeah.
That is so fun. I love both of those
Like,
games.
I know those games so well. The
The
number of
level
times-
design in Banjo-Tooie is just phenomenal.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely.
My hot take is that Banjo-Kazooie is better than Mario 64. I'm sorry,
no,
but it is.
100%,
Yes.
100%, right?
And, like, no one's ever heard of it.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Love jumping into the pictures, so fun, but like you can't, no one can fly, no one can swim in Mario 64, right? It's just too complicated. But the
Well-
kind of stuff you can do in Banjo-Kazooie is amazing.
It's just so fun. There's so much character and personality
Yeah.
they poured into that game.
Yeah, and the music,
The
like
the
sound,
humor.
the soundtrack's the
I love
best.
the soundtrack. The humor is so fun.
Yeah.
They just like went so goofy with the jokes. I could go on and on, but
Yeah.
unfortunately that's not what we're here
What's
to
your
talk
favorite?
about.
What's your favorite level in Banjo-Tooie?
Oh, and Banjo-Tooie. My favorite level is Grunty Industries.
Yes. No, that's the worst one.
No, I love it.
I don't love it.
struggled so hard. I was like, how in the world do
Yeah.
I even get in
I got
here?
lost on all the different levels and couldn't figure out how to get
I'm
back to
a
the
good
level.
mental mapping person, so I figured it out.
I am
But
not.
It was so like the level design is just genius.
Yeah,
It's just so good.
I think it's too genius for me. I think it's
Okay,
up a level from
I think
where
I think I matched the level designers in intelligence with
right. So
that-
it was
that
aimed at people
level.
like you, and then it got me, and I was like, can I just move on to the next level? Like, what is this?
Oh gosh, I really loved it though. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I'm sorry other people struggled with it. I really am.
Yeah, other people being
Also
me.
the music, like music.
yeah,
so
the
good.
music's really good.
Yes.
So
Oh,
good.
so
Have you
good.
come across the YouTuber from like 10 years ago called Michael Dragon?
No,
He wrote words to all the Banjo-Kazooie and Banjo-Tooie
I think
songs.
I've seen one of his videos.
Yeah, and
That
it's
is so
epic.
fun.
It's epic. He's just like a wee YouTuber that's singing along to the songs, and it's the best. You're gonna have to catch up on that.
Oh, I will.
But anyway, we could talk about that game all the time. I want to hear from you. How do I set you up for your soapbox moment?
Coincidentally, ask me what my favorite video game is
And why?
and how it impacted me.
Okay, can you tell me what is your favorite video game and how did it impact you?
Oh, well, I'm so glad you asked. My favorite video game taught me a very important lesson.
Okay.
It is called Outer Wilds, and it holds a very special place in my heart
Yeah.
because I'll just tell you the story. It all started, screen goes all wavy and fades to this
Yeah.
scene from a year ago. It started 1 year ago when my youth pastor came up to me one day and was like, Zaden, oh my gosh, you got to play this game called Outer Wilds, but I cannot tell you anything about it. So I was like, what? Why can't you tell me anything? And he's like, I can't tell you that either. And I respect the guy, so I gave it a try. I played it, and it completely switched around the way that I thought about media as a whole.
Really?
Yes. Outer Wilds, I'll put this shortly. We can go into more depth about this later if you'd like. Outer Wilds completely breaks down and throws away every standard that the AAA money-greedy industry has set up and just creates a beautiful, wholesome experience that teaches you wonderful lessons like dealing with your own mortality, fear of change, fear of death, and not knowing what's going to happen in the future. And it's just some fun adventure exploration space game that ends up changing your life. At least it did for me. That's how I experienced it.
Okay, let's go personal first, and then let's talk about the concepts that led to that.
Okay.
Like, how did it change your life?
Before I played Outer Wilds, I had been playing lots of pretty great games, you know. I think my favorite was probably like, Breath of the Wild and stuff.
Yes.
It's really beautiful and I love the open world.
Yeah.
And I just played a lot of the games that other people would as well. Like Smash Bros. And Mario Galaxy and all those things all throughout my childhood. And I thought that was it, that was the extent of games. I had also had a negative relationship with games because I gotten addicted to them like millions of other people around the world. And, like hid it from my parents. And it was really just kind of a problem. And I just kind of thought that was it, that was all the video games could ever do for you, is just to be a mindless entertainment, or even worse, a source of addiction, which never does you any good.
No.
And it was just, that was my relationship with games. It was just my favorite hobby, yet the most damaging. And then I played Outer Wilds, and it taught me that you can have such deep, meaningful experiences through a game, so that it's so healthy. And it's not addicting. It doesn't have any of the things that the industry has kind of set to be normal.
Yeah.
Over many years, the AAA and even indie game industry has set these standards of, you want to have all these things that reward the player because it releases dopamine, and then they'll want to keep playing. You want to tell the player exactly what to do because then they won't get lost and they can just play it mindlessly. And you want to have objectives so that when they complete it, it'll check a little box and then they'll get another dopamine release.
Right.
And Outer Wilds completely threw that out the window.
Can I ask you about that? So,
yes.
Firstly, who's AAA? What's AAA?
Oh, like the big industries,
Just
like Nintendo, Xbox.
Okay, so they are intentionally designing their games, understanding what like the science of our brains and like how we work and stuff.
Yeah.
And they're trying to get us hooked and like wanting to keep playing it. Basically, that's what they're doing.
I think it's kind of just become the standard. They're not purposely trying to do this. It's become
they're
normal.
not evil people. But that's what's happening.
Also, I don't want to hate on other games. I don't want to hate on all games.
Yeah.
I think that
we actually love
games are naturally a great experience, but I feel like they can just turn into things that are addicting, a lot of people use games to escape from real life. That's what I did once, was to just like pretend I was someone else for even just a few minutes.
Yeah.
And that's as unhealthy, if not more unhealthy, than getting addicted to them.
Right.
It's just another terrible way that we can warp the, things that people have made.
So the things that the big industry games are including that you think are not healthy are, what was it you said there? Like the kind of like the achievements, like you're just
all
trying
the
to get
missions and achievements, and so many things about getting more powerful or collecting things. Like it doesn't require any skill at all is the other thing. It's that the lack of the effort that you need to put into it.
Yeah, you're just running into an object and then bling.
And it's just so brainless and easy, and unfortunately that's just become the normal. But Outer Wilds, let me list all the things that Outer Wilds does not have.
Yeah.
All right?
Okay.
Fighting, weapons, armor, levels, experience points, objectives,
What
achievements.
even is this game? What's in
It's
this
the
game?
most beautiful experience I've ever
Yeah.
had, is the amazing thing, because it doesn't have any of those things. And it showed me that you can just take all that out the window, have some beautiful scenery, a fun mystery to solve, and an amazing lesson to learn at the end of the day.
Really? So is it quite philosophical?
It gets very philosophical.
Yeah.
You wouldn't know when you started it, but for me,
Right.
it was very philosophical.
Yeah.
I can't, again, like my youth leader told me, I can't really tell you much about the story or what happens. I can just tell you to play it.
Right.
It's amazing.
So no spoilers.
Yes, but it does get very philosophical. It taught me as well that you can represent these really deep ideas through games. Like, as I said, dealing with mortality and fear of change.
Yeah.
Like, there's someone on Reddit who said it helped them deal with the loss of a loved one, and I totally understand why. There are videos on YouTube that I love to watch that are just, there's this guy who literally takes quotes from philosophers from about 100 years ago and uses them to analyze the story of Outer Wilds. Like, it's that deep.
Wow.
And like, you don't, this isn't normal. Like, you don't find a 3-hour-long game design commentary and critique
Right.
on Call of Duty.
Right.
And that's
yeah.
on Outer Wilds. You don't find a 2-hour-long video essay on the sound design of Mario Kart.
No.
But there was one for
Although
Outer Wilds.
I would like to rate that though.
Yes.
I would
It's
have some
just,
thoughts.
the creators disregarded dopamine release. They disregarded holding the player's hand. Again, no mission objectives, no
Right.
achievements, no do this next. There's none of that.
Yeah.
They threw all that out the window, and lo and behold, it was so much better than any other game has ever offered me.
Wow. Like what you're describing there sounds to me like in the same way that some really beautifully done movies, you know, lead you on a journey of engaging with a subject of deep meaning and like brings you at the other end, you know, with these deep reflections about the concept and about your own life. Like it sounds like that's the experience that you got through a game, right? Is that what happened?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
It was just, yeah.
So then does that make you think, what is the potential in that style of game to create things that cover a variety of different subjects that people need to dive into?
I think that it's 100% possible to, now that I've played Outer Worlds, to understand and to represent, to show other people these complex ideas and emotions. And that's really ultimately my dream. I'm really into game design. I've often analyzed games and what makes them fun or difficult or
Really?
easy or, all these things. I love nitpicking at what makes a game a game.
Yeah.
And after playing Outer Wilds, I wiped the tears away from my face. Yes, I cried.
Yeah.
I cry a lot. And I was like, I sat down. I said to myself, I really, really, really want to make a game like that. Because it's not just some of that garble that's floating around. It's just so much more than that. It's like,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
that's my dream. But to get Jesus into it as well is to I'm hoping one day I can co-create with God and really make a game that represents a relationship with God through that. I mean, if a game about exploring space can end up teaching you about death, then well, surely you can make some sort of game teaching people about Jesus, which I'm so looking forward to doing.
I'm going to ask you more questions about that, but let me just change the angle slightly while...
No, the dog has left us.
Button, because in here it's still rolling.
Ladies and gentlemen, it is an absolute travesty. Everest, the dog, has left us. She's not dead. She's just in the other room over there.
Actually left us, but...
So we're fine.
there we go, this is fine. Just...
Perfect.
So I find this really interesting, what you're saying, because I am a firm believer in the fact that God wants us to bring the kingdom, like his ways, the ways he designs stuff, into every sphere of society. And there's an old way of thinking that would have said, oh, I'm only doing something significant for Jesus if I'm serving in church or if I'm being a missionary and preaching the gospel. And actually that's just like one tiny sliver of the ways that we impact people with the truth of God.
Yeah.
And so what I'm finding interesting about this chat is I think you have got a lot of vision from God on what it looks like to bring his kingdom to people through gaming.
I would say so. I think that he's sparked that passion in me. I wouldn't be surprised if he used my youth pastor, who's also a Christian, to introduce me to Outer Wilds, which led to, me being here and having this conversation.
Wow. I mean, before we get into like what God's put on your heart, can I just say you're such a great example of someone who is made in the image of the creator God, who has recognized that he's the source of creativity, but you are a source of creativity because you are in his image.
Thank you.
And it's like, I see in your passion and how you think, like when you just described there, you know, I've analyzed games and I figured out what works and what doesn't. Like, I just see the image of God all over that, you know, like
so
that,
much.
that intelligence, that strategic thinking. I think you're a really great example of walking out who God designed you to be in that sense.
Thank you.
I think that's very cool.
It's very nice of you.
Can you paint a picture to me then of how you would bring Jesus to someone through a video game?
Goodness, I'm still trying to answer this question myself. I don't know. I think the first step is to, learn how to make games, as in like the software. I tried to learn Unity a while ago, and it was just really tricky, but I want to get into it when I go to college.
So that's what you want to go and study, right? You want to
Yes.
like get trained in this?
It's game design. Yes,
Yeah, very
exactly.
nice.
I'm also a music theory nerd and a music nerd. I love music. I actually only listen to music from video games.
Yeah.
If it's
Well,
like
in all
yes.
fairness, there's a lot of really good music in video
Yes.
games.
like the Dark Souls soundtrack. Don't get me started on the Dark
Yeah.
Souls soundtrack.
I've
my
never played
goodness.
that, but I've listened to that soundtrack.
You've listened to Dark Souls?
Yeah, when I was in Kona.
Really?
Yeah, because my friends listened
What was
to
your
it.
favorite one?
I don't even know. I just know we listened to it and it was great.
Oh my goodness. Slave Night Gale, Phase 2. If you know what I'm talking about, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What are your other favorite soundtracks from games?
Oh, man, I've got to think about that for a second. I used to love Breath of the Wild, and it still has great music.
Yeah.
I just moved on to other ones.
Yeah, I've got I've got a playlist that's like all the Breath of the Wild music with only I think like a reed flute and a piano or something.
Oh,
And it's
wow.
just stunning. Like it's
I love the originals
absolutely-
personally,
Yeah.
but that sounds really good
It's
as well.
very cool.
Yes. Really from plenty of games I've played, as long as it's not computerized stuff and the composer knows what they're doing. Those are my two criteria. It's like
Yeah.
real instruments and the composer's like experienced.
Yeah.
Cuphead is another great one. If you love fast jazz, look up the Cuphead soundtrack
Okay.
because it is so
Yeah.
good. Yeah.
Right, so you're going to get trained in video game design,
Yes.
and then are you going to create a world, or are you going to create something like, is it Outer Wilds? Is that what it's called?
Yes.
Yeah. Can you
Yeah.
talk to me about the concept of co-creating with God?
I would love to.
Yeah, tell me about that.
So, God is a creator. We know this. He created absolutely everything. He created you, created me.
Yeah.
He must be very creative
Yeah.
if he's to be a creator and
You would
create all
think.
these things. Like, oh my goodness. We are created in God's image. He created us to be, in a lot of ways, like him. Thus, we are also creators.
Yeah.
So much so that even if we don't know God, we can still create things. Thus, we have art and music
Right,
and video
yeah.
games and couches and
Right.
mics and all these wonderful things. Co-creating with God is, number one, creating something with God's like mindset in mind, with his ideas in mind, with the knowledge that he exists in mind. You can't really necessarily do that with creating couches,
Right.
but with more complex ideas, it's bringing God into the process. Number two is allowing God to help you with this process, which involves like praying and asking the Lord, hey, I'm really stuck here. What do I do? With just being really in tune with God when you're creating something. It can look like many different things, but I've heard so many times it's so much simpler than it seems at first. Co-creating with God, it's just letting God into your creative process.
Yeah.
And being aware of him. Yeah, acknowledging him.
Acknowledging that you're not actually doing a solo project right now. You're working with God.
Yes.
It's not just your ideas, it's also his ideas.
Welcome him into the environment and he will help you and he will be there working with you. He will use what you're making for his great mission if you allow him. Only if you allow him. He's not intrusive is the amazing thing.
Right. So
Yeah.
tell me, like, what does that look like for you? Is it a very simple, intentional, step-by-step, right, I'm going to stop, I'm going to pray, I'm going to listen, I'm going to make notes, I'm going to then create? Or is it much more of a fluid, like, well, sometimes a thought comes to my mind and I think that might be the Lord, and then, or does it bounce about? Like talk me through a bit what that actually looks like.
I don't know because I've co-created with God before, but not with something so big in scope as a video game because that, it takes years to make. It's got so many aspects.
Yeah, that's like a big future thing.
And this idea, the passion of creating a game like Outer Wilds in many senses that glorifies God, that's like the magnum opus. That's like my passion, my dream to work towards.
Yeah.
And I don't know what it's going to look like when that time in my life comes. I know that God's got a plan for my life.
Yeah.
And I know that he wants us to fulfill our passions. It's so amazing. He wants us to do the things that we love. And he wants to be a part of it as well.
Yeah.
I don't know when that's going to come or what it's going to look like.
But your step one is, I'm going to go and get trained in video game design.
Yes.
So it's like you've got your foot in the door. And sometimes it's like that with God, isn't it? You've got a bigger picture vision. You don't know how you're going to get there, but you know what your next step is to get towards that.
He never lets down his promises.
Yeah. Can you tell me about, have you got any examples in your life of smaller projects that you've like co-created with God on, whether it's like music or anything?
One example is in the first phase of my DTS, about a month ago, I suppose, we had to create our own personal testimony pieces. There were 3 different types for all the students. There's singing, acting, and a dance. Now, I can dance, but not super well. I can sing pretty well, not to brag.
Oh, no,
but
I
chose to do the acting.
All right.
And so I created this monologue piece, and I was just really, I was just really just praying every time I was going to work on it, and just being open to what the Lord was doing. I was like, Lord, use this for whatever you would like to use it for. And I wrote this monologue, and yeah, it's, again, I've heard from so many people that co-creating with God is simply letting God into it. It's not asking the Lord to show you exactly what to do. He can do that sometimes, but it's really just letting him into the process, and he will take it from there as long as you welcome him in.
Yeah.
And yeah, so
I like that.
I created that monologue with the Lord, and it has already planted some seeds and touched the hearts of some people. I know that much.
Right. Wow.
So, yeah.
That's
it
cool.
works.
I love hearing you talk about that. I go through phases of trying to paint, right?
Oh, yes.
I would like to be like my friend Dawn, who'd painted these ones. Like my friend's an artist, she did these. I'm not quite that level, but I do go through phases from time to time of being like, no, I'm gonna like work hard at painting and try and get good at this and get to a point where I've got a skill level that I'm pleased with. But I can relate to that concept of inviting God in or not inviting God in. Like I can think of times that I've just been like, I just need to paint a thing. Oh, can I just get this done? Pull out a canvas, get some paint. And it's almost like I'm trying to do it in my own strength. And it's never as enjoyable, and it's never as good, actually, when I step back and look at it. I'm
really?
Like, yeah, I'm not as pleased with that. Whereas the times that I've just like got out paints and a canvas and actually almost like waited on God, like been like, right, Holy Spirit, I'm just waiting on you.
Yeah.
Lord, like, bring ideas to my mind. Like almost like stilled my pace and let him take me, rather than being like, I just need to get this done. Usually that results in something I'm much more pleased with and just feels much more, anointed and powerful, and like it really speaks, versus the I'm just doing this on my own.
100%. When I wrote my testimony piece, the day before we were going to perform them for a bunch of people, I was not feeling happy with mine. And so I prayed about it, and I was freaking out, to be honest, to tell you the truth. And I prayed. I was like, Lord, show me what to do. Please help me, Jesus. I need you right now. Because I was really stressed about it. And in 45 minutes, I had rewritten the whole thing, and it turned out to be amazing. Yeah. And yeah, just whatever you need in the situation, if you ask him to come in and help you with it, and you have faith that he will, he does. Yeah. It's just amazing. Yeah, that's
so cool.
Welcoming him in is just, helps you so much.
I love that. Okay, so we've talked about video games, the video game industry, and how there are some that can be a much more wholesome experience than others.
Yes.
We've talked about the concept of God being the ultimate designer creator, us being made in his image, co-creating with God, getting visions from God and then walking them out. Well, thank you so much for this chat. This has been absolutely fantastic.
You are so welcome. It has been very fun. It's crazy we both are fans of Banjo-Kazooie. That is such a coincidence.
How can you not be a fan of Banjo-Kazooie?
I know,
if you
right?
played it, you would
How
get it.
dare you not be? Exactly.
Yeah, it's actually so good. We can keep chatting about that one. Great. Well, I hope this has inspired someone that there are better games than you are playing, and it's called Outer Wilds.
Outer Wilds.
I'm not
going to say you're going to enjoy it, just give it a try if it seems like your thing. Stay where you are in terms of the games you're playing, or change it up. You never know what you're going to enjoy.
Yeah, that's good. But also, I bless the creativity in you. Like, may God fan into flame the creativity that he has put in you for whatever industry you're in. And may you find joy and may you find life in that.
Amen.
In Jesus' name. Amen. All right. Thanks, Zaden.
You are so welcome.
That's fun. Bye. Thanks for listening to this podcast. We're doing this because we want you to know that you can hear the voice of God for yourself and that there really is truth to be found in the Bible. You can join our online community by liking, commenting, and subscribing to our TikTok and YouTube. And tell us what you think. Like, what has God been saying to you? Or did we miss out anything that we should have talked about? Also, we're a volunteer-run, crowdfunded organisation, so if you want to help us keep doing this, you could pray about giving us a donation via our website. Your financial donations, whether it's a one-off or committed monthly support, help us pay our subscription fees, upkeep our tech, and sustain our ability to keep on inviting people to encounter the truth in Jesus. Thanks, guys.